Good morning again. I am here to go over today, Tuesday, April 8th, activities. Okay, so let's get to it. For social studies today, you are going again to Brain Pop, and today you are going to do the last season video, which is summer. So you should have done winter, spring, fall. Today you're doing summer and you're taking the easy quiz for a grade. Make sure you are logging in with that class code that I gave your parents so I could see your quiz results, okay? So that's what you're doing for social studies today. That's it. For science, you are continuing your foldable activity. Living things are, living things have, living things can. You can, if you have a printer, you can also just print it and use this sheet. And then you could draw and label your two items, or you could write two facts. Okay, it's up to you how you choose to do that. Okay, so that's it. If you're done with the foldable or this, you're done with science for today. If you're not, just continue it. The extra, this is extra if you want to do it. This is extra if you want to cut and paste. Okay. Those are extra activities if you'd like to do it. If you're finished with your foldable, you could go ahead and do that. Okay. For math today, you are talking about height. Height. Remember, we already did this, so this is just review. Height is how tall. Remember, we did length before. What's length? Remind me. Length is how long. Height is how tall. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause this video when I tell you to, and I want you to compare the heights of two things. Okay, remember heights go from bottom to top. You could compare the height of you and your parent, one of your parents. You could compare the height of two of your toys. But remember, can we do this to compare them? No, they need to start at the same bottom. Now, if you're standing and comparing heights, the starting point is the floor, so that's fine. As long as no one's on their tiptoes or on a chair, then you can compare it. So they have the same start point, and I want you to compare the heights of two things. So if you want to pause this video now and do that, and just make sure you verbalize which one is taller and which one is shorter. Okay, when we're talking about height, it's not bigger, smaller, it's taller, shorter, okay, or about the same height. Remember, we compared the heights of all of you guys in the class. Some of you were about the same height, some of you were taller, some of you were shorter than your partner. So if you want, you could pause it here and do that, or you could do it later. Now for journal. You are going to write a sentence with the word right and the word green. Those are two of your sight words. So if you'd like to be independent, you could pause this video here and write these words in your journal with the sentence. Okay, so I'm going to leave it here for you. You could pause it. Now, remember when you do your sentence to start with what? An uppercase letter. Don't forget, an uppercase letter. And you use finger spaces, which you guys have been doing a great job doing. And then you end with what? A period. And if it's a question mark. Or if you say it with excitement, an exclamation mark. Okay, so look at my sentence. I'm going to write a sentence with the word right. We, finger space, must, finger space, turn right. So I'm talking about the right of right and left. So I'm talking about the direction, period. So look at my sentence. I start with the uppercase letter. I end with a period. We must turn right. Now I want you to look. Do you see how my uppercase letter touches the sky? That blue line is the sky. That middle line is the fence. The bottom line is the ground, okay? My lowercase letters, most of them start on the gate or the fence, unless they have a long neck, like H, like T, and like those two T's. Now, remember, some letters go underground because they have a tail, okay, like G. So make sure they are under that line, okay? Don't use my sentence. I want you to create your own, but here's a sample, and you're gonna do another one with green. Okay, that's it for journal. For your spelling and sight words, you could use the video I already sent to review your spelling and sight words. You can use that every day if it's helping you. And today you're gonna do spelling city. Okay, spelling city, it's gonna help you practice your spelling words and sight words. If you still cannot log in, tell your parents to message me and I will send them the username and password, which username is that your ID, and the password is your ID and your first name's initial letter. Okay, and if that's not working, I might have made an error, so just have them message me and I could just check to see if I did that correctly. Okay, for Spanish. ¿Qué color es esto? If you know it, say it. ¿Qué color es esto? Verde. El color es verde. Okay, verde is our word of the week. Okay, the color we are discussing, green, our sight word in English, but in Spanish it's verde. Okay, hoy vas a escribir una oración con el color verde. Today you are going to write a sentence with the word verde, green. Now I know some of your parents might not speak Spanish. That is okay. You could use Google Translate. That'll help them translate some of the words. And if you know the words, awesome. Try sounding it out in Spanish. So today, vas a hacer una oración. La blank es verde. So tell me, remember you were supposed to color something that's green and label it green, but verde in Spanish. Well, today you're gonna tell me what that is that's green that you drew, or you could create something else. Now, depending on what your word is, you might use la, which is feminine, or el, which is masculine. Okay, look how I started with that uppercase letter. Look how I ended with a period. You could pause the video if you'd like to write your sentences. Depending on what you're doing, you might use this one or this one. So for example, if you say la luz es verde, if you're talking about a street light, and the green one, la luz es verde. El árbol, tree, es verde. Those are some examples, but try to use your own. Luz is light, just FYI. Okay, let me see, and I believe that is it. The last thing we're gonna do, if you wanna do this after, you can. Pause this whenever you need to do some of your assignments. But what we're gonna do now is we are gonna do our listening comprehension that goes with our theme, which is the sky. Okay, so you could do this later, you could do this now, but I do want you to listen because it's gonna have some of our words of the week, the words we discussed on Monday. Okay, so the title of this listening comprehension is A View from the Moon. Here we go. All around our planet, people can look up at the sky and see the moon. This glowing ball has always been mysterious. But in 1969, 2 astronauts traveled far into space and walked on the moon. This helped us solve some of the moon's mysteries. So remember, we went over the word space. Here on Earth, we see the moon at night and sometimes during the day. It can look like a round ball, half of a circle, or a thin slice. It is hard to tell how big the moon really is. That's because the distance between Earth and the moon is so great. The moon looks smaller than a cloud because clouds are closer to us than the moon. And the moon looks bigger than a star because the stars are much farther away. Okay? So remember distance, how far something is from another thing. This one's the next one. What is it like up there on the moon? People asked. The only way to answer this question was to build a spaceship, land it on the moon, and then travel back to Earth. The mission that did this was called Apollo 2. The lucky astronauts were Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins. The astronauts flew 2 different spaceships to the moon. The main ship, called Columbia, took them to just above the moon and then back to Earth. The actual moon lander was called Eagle. The astronauts trained hard. They studied every part of the ships to prepare for the strange world of space. They also got used to their heavy space suits. These suits would protect them from their cold and very hot temperatures on the moon. After liftoff on July 16, 1969, it took the astronauts 3 days to get to the moon. Living on a spaceship was a challenge. There was a very little room to move around. The astronauts ate special dry or liquid food. They had to make sure all of the tools and instruments were working properly, but it would all be worth it. So challenge, something difficult. On July 20th, the Eagle landed on the surface of the moon. Neil Armstrong had the honor of taking the first step. Then the astronauts explored the amazing new land. The astronauts collected moon rocks, took pictures, and planted an American flag. They also practiced walking in their spacesuits. Walking on the moon is fun because people weigh less there. When you jump up, it takes a while to come back down. The surface of the moon is covered in powdery dust. Like the planet Earth, the moon has different land features. It has mountains, flat parts, and even fields of hot, bubbly liquid called lava. Eagle landed in a smooth area called the Sea of Tranquility. But even the moon's smooth areas have lots of rocky holes called craters. The moon is not nearly as colorful as planet Earth, though. From close up, astronauts on the moon only see gray colors. There is no water there. Seas on the moon are not real seas that have water and waves, and there's absolutely no wind there. If you go to the moon today, you will still see the footprints of every astronaut who walked there. That's pretty cool. We are all used to seeing Earth from up close, right under our feet. But what does Earth look like from far away? Neil, Buzz, and Michael got to do something very special. They got to see planet Earth from way out in space. On the surface of the moon, it is very dark. There is no blue sky. The colorful stars shine even brighter. The moon under your feet looks big, and Earth looks very small. Earth is called the blue planet because most of it is covered in ocean. From space, it is easy to see the blue color on Earth. If you look closer at Earth, you recognize the brown shapes of Earth's land. Rainforests are bright green and deserts are yellow. White clouds swirl above the land. Looking at Earth from the moon, Earth looks too small to land on. You have to remind yourself of all the people who live down there. We have answered many questions about the moon, but there is still a lot to learn. The moon is a fascinating place we can hope to return to one day. Okay, so you see how a lot of it is blue, and it said some parts you see yellow. A lot of those are deserts, and some you could see green. Those would be a rainforest and forests of some sort. That's a very cool image taken from space. And that is our listening comprehension, boys and girls. And I believe that's it you have for today. Let me verify that I went over. Remember to continue your I Ready, just 45 minutes throughout the week. For reading, read any book. Read for fun. Reading is good for the brain. For math, you're going to go to the e-textbook and do 11.2. It's only five or six questions. Oh, I'm sorry. Math on the spot is just a video. So a video you have to watch on heights. Tomorrow you will do the homework that has to do with height. And I believe I went over everything else. Yep, that is it for today. Have a great day, guys. Bye.